we have Manish Sinha. Go ahead and transfer this over. I don't know if you remember Manish, but I do. I remember him from the Django, the San Francisco Django meetup. Used to go to that one. That was no longer going, I believe, correct? But it was, not everything lasts forever. So he used to do that, and he submitted a talk here, and it sounds like you're doing something new and different in finance. So let's see if this actually works. So it's Devin for finance. And who around here knows what Devin is? Do you know what the Devin thing is? Because I didn't really know much about it, so it seems like not everybody knows about it. So you get to inform us what Devin is and its application for finance.
Thank you, James. Hey everybody, my name is Manish. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today. We'll be covering what Devin is, and we'll be leading into some interesting topics. I'll introduce myself, I'll talk about Devin, I'll talk about how it works. Don't be worried if you don't know what Devin is. We'll go into it so you'll have all the context you need. We'll also then talk about kind of how we're thinking about shaping Devin for a totally different use case, like data science and in finance. There'll be a demo, and then we're going to ask whether we still have jobs after tools like these. And I'm hoping for a fun discussion there, and then some Q&A if we have time. A little bit about me. I actually started my career in finance. I used to work at Morgan Stanley, working on a lot of the problems that I'm about to talk about. It's kind of where I cut my teeth as an engineer. I used to, as James said, co-run the San Francisco Django meetup, and it's pretty special to come back to the mothership and be able to talk about topics that I love. Has anybody here used Devin? Okay. It is, at a high level, it is a tool that automates software engineering. And I'm going to break that out into a couple pieces. This is a screenshot of Devin. It looks a little bit like ChatGPT with a coding environment bolted into it, tailored for software engineering tasks. So here in the middle panel, on the far left panel, you have something like what you see in ChatGPT, little previews of the prompts that you've worked on in the past. In the middle, you have what is your dialogue with Devin, their bot. And what's unique about tools like Devin is that they spend a lot of time on planning. And what do I mean? What do I mean by that? All of you here are engineers, data scientists. We all know that the hardest part of what we do, of our craft, is not necessarily typing words and letting the computer understand that. It's thinking about the big blocks and how they all sequence with each other and how they pass information from one to the next. That's what makes us engineers and not coders. Devin is laser focused on creating a system to help you with that. And what its magic is that it gives you a plan, and that's what this text in the middle is. It might be hard to see, but it says something like, set up this project, configure it in this way, find the errors, mark the pages as complete, and then verify that the build error went away. So it's almost talking to you and interacting with you as if it's a junior engineer. And what makes it so special is that it's the first tool that I've seen where you can truly throw something over the wall and have it figure its way out through that challenge. On the far right, you have what's like a built-in editor, and it shows you the code that it produces right in front of you, just like ChatGPT does, just like any LLM does. How does Devin work? It starts with a conversation, just like with ChatGPT, a prompt. Maybe that prompt is, write me a script that scrapes Hacker News and exports it as a CSV. Those kinds of prompts, by the way, are like tailor-made for LLMs and Devin. That sort of like cruft and gluing is like perfect for these kinds of tools. That conversation then goes into what's called an agent. And this is an overloaded term that everybody is using. And what it means is that a tool like Devin takes thinks about your task and your prompt in bite-sized pieces, and it creates a sort of pipeline from left to right, and they configure each stage of the pipeline to work on a piece of the task and then transmit it to the next stage of the pipeline. It's exactly how you and I would work if we were writing such a script. We might think about using the API at first, then we might think about storing that in a database, then we might think about writing that to a CSV. It's that same sort of mental architecture we've all built up as software engineers. They're intentionally doing that. They're intentionally planning around that sort of process. That then Devin takes action, and then there's an analysis engine in which gets produced into and spit into your environment, which was that code editor. They will spin up a live instance for you. This is where it starts to feel like Replit and all those kind of IDEs that have everything all in one place. The magic of Devin and what really blew my mind is, has anyone here played hot and cold when you were a kid? You're looking for something, you tell them, oh, you're getting hot, you're getting closer. Or maybe they're getting further away, they're getting colder. The magic of Devin, it's like you're watching a kid, a bot, create code in front of you, and you're in this position to play hot and cold with it. I have used it and I have seen it go off the rails, and you can intervene, and I have seen it find its way, and you stay off. So the key part of like this tool, and ChatGPT and other tools can kind of have this, but the key part here is that you as a human have the ability to intervene and to course correct. Any questions on Devin? Yeah?
Is this like a product or like open source application? Is this run by a company? Or?
It is run by a company called Cognition Labs. They are a for-profit company, and currently the product is behind a wait list. There's also tools, I'll talk about OpenDevin, and there's like some open source competitors too. Yeah?
Does it work locally or where your data goes to?
Yeah, the question was, does it work locally or where does your data go to? I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure they own the entire real estate and they know about all your code. Any other questions on Devin? Yeah, in the back.
A lot of work in this space relies on kind of detailed data from third-party services. Are there connectors? Some of those are not free, by the way. I'm just wondering, sort of like beyond the scraping example, if there are other tools that get it.
Yeah, I think if I heard the question right, or there's some tasks require proprietary connectors. Does Devin offer that? And I think the answer is probably no. They do everything that they train. I mean, they're using a well-known LLM behind the scenes, and whatever that was trained on, that's what it works on. I want to pivot to a little, yeah, so go ahead.
Can you move that stand to one side or the other? Because this side of the audience can only see the quarter to your screen.
Oh, yeah.
This?
Maybe, if you don't mind moving it aside.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate that. Thanks, James. I'm gonna pivot to finance for a hot second and show you guys where we can take Devin in a totally different domain. I'm giving this talk not just to share kind of what we're up to, but to share the idea of where you can take a similar concept in your work, whether that's software engineering, data science, or whatever. The Office of Finance has been undergoing a huge transition, and it's becoming strategically minded. In 2014, Dropbox did something very different. They said, this finance team that we just hired for is gonna play offense rather than defense. It's gonna be less about closing the books, accounting, compliance, taxes. It's gonna be about informing and driving the product teams, the go-to-market strategy, and having finance have a say in all those areas. This was a big shift that started in 2014. Most modern finance orgs have now started to behave this way. But the tooling hasn't caught up with that. If you have a question, suppose you work at Uber and you want to know about driver churn, you might ask yourself, do I need data to answer this question? You might be sitting in finance, you might be sitting in ops or growth, whatever. And you definitely need data because you can't answer a question without data. But once you do, you're gonna need to go on this goose chase. You're gonna need to ask the people who have access to the data. Then once you have that data, you're gonna need to find a way to join it intelligently and then produce a sort of conclusion or report from that. This is a process that we believe has a lot of friction in it, that takes a lot of time, and that relegates the people who want to ask these questions to people who are closest to the data, which we think is wrong. Everybody should have the ability to ask questions about their business, regardless of where they sit in the organization. Meet Evan, Devin's evil twin. Evan ran away from home and decided he did not want to be a software engineer. He wanted to do something totally different. And he put on his best vest and he went into finance. And he asked himself these questions, what sort of problems he wants to ask. Something similar to what you'd see on Devin, preloaded prompts. Today we're in the mood to talk about revenue growth and churn, so I'll click that. And Evan, I know this text is small, but Evan is asking, glad to help you with some analysis. Can you tell me a little more about what you want to achieve? And so we'll say, I work at Uber and I want to know the effect of driver churn on the company bottom line. Evan will sit down and think about that, and it replies, yo, you let me get some coupon codes while we're at it because I know you work at Uber, and when I think about driver churn, I think about the driver data. Where does that sit? Probably owned by the driver team at Uber. And I also think about the financial data. Where does that sit? Probably in the Office of Finance, in your GL system or others. So he's asking, can I get those exports? And just like in ChatGPT, I'm gonna upload some files. And I'm gonna submit them. And what Evan says is, cool, you're speaking my language, I see two files. One looks like driver data, the other looks like finance data. Let me craft a plan to come up with a solution here. Just like Devin, and again, this is like the magical piece of all of these tools, is to sit down and think about the sequence and the order of operations. I see it's taking its time, so I'll ask, hello, are you there? And now it has a plan for us. It's cleaned up and normalized some of those exports. It's come up with a way to intelligently join two data sets that don't have a foreign key with them. Something LLMs are very good at, by the way. And it gave us a financial model, which we'll see in a little bit. On the right side, you'll see there's a file explorer. We can check out what it did. Again, these are early artifacts. It shows a built-in kind of SQL editor experience. It shows you a spreadsheet view. Again, all these things that data scientists have to do manually, that ops people have to do manually, this is a way to reimagine some of that. And lastly, it exports a financial model for us. To me, these tools don't answer a question for you. It's a little different than ChatGPT in that regard. Rather, they give you the foundation for you to start adjusting the levers up and down so that you can answer the question yourself. Here we're giving the person, the user, a financial model so they can tweak around in Excel. We're not saying, the driver churn was affected by this and it has this bottom line. I don't think those tools personally are very valuable. I think the best tools, as a broad statement, are the ones that put us humans in a place to take away the cruft and give us all the tools, the signal that we need to answer the question. are we still going to have jobs after all this? Has anyone seen this diagram from the pragmatic engineer? It's a trimodal distribution for jobs. Okay. Common thought was engineers sat on a bimodal distribution. There was, let's say, not greatly talented ones and then very talented ones, and the middle was not so great. He's challenging that opinion, and I won't go into the details of it. My prediction, and I'm like very open to thinking about this out loud and would love to have a short conversation here, is that if you're a junior developer, if you're a boot camp grad, your days are limited. The market has just less of a need for you because these tools are coming online that place non-technical folks in a place of way more leverage, way more power. I think it's very hard to be a new grad these days, this is the blunt truth. I think if you're in the middle, you will either start peeling away to the left because you don't know how to use these tools, or they're not part of your life, or you start peeling away to the right. And on the right, you'll be senior engineers that are using these tools every day, Copilot, Cursor, Devin, whatever, and you're just moving, I would say, 2 to 5 times faster than you were in the past. I think that is the future we're entering, and as an engineer, I'm certainly preparing for it and hoping to build and shape part of it. Does anybody have any opinions on that? I mean, I'm not going to just like let that grenade go. Like, all of you have used Copilot, maybe Cursor, ChatGPT is part of your world. Like, how does this affect us as a profession? In the back.
Is it a 2 to 5 times faster? I think it's 2 to 50 times faster.
2 to, instead of 3 to 5 times faster, 2 to 50? Is that what you said? 5-0?
5-0.
Okay.
You said more.
Any other takes? They can be hot or not.
So, I don't know, it's a continuation of what you say, assuming that what you say is true. Like, I feel like there's this risk of this great ravine problem happening where like we have no new grads for, this much time not getting like upscales into like the senior engineers, and then we have no more senior engineers, and now we don't know how to run any of the computers at the work.
Any other opinions? I'm really curious. Yeah.
I feel like, I mean, what you're saying is true, but the demand for software is also like exponentially growing. And a lot of software, to be honest, is like, it's not that hard, but it's still like harder than what ChatGPT, because you don't have a lot of context on all the systems. And I think there's still going to be need for like real junior engineers. There might just be paid for this.
Have you used Cursor yet?
It doesn't work for iOS.
Okay. That's true. That's true. On the context piece, we're getting to a point where you can drop the entire code base in. Do you think context still matters, or is like a moat in that regard? Or are you referring to like business
I mean, you
context?
could drop like the entire code base, but it's like it's still a little bit better auto. And I use like ChatGPT daily and stuff, but it's like you don't ask them to take directions, it's still like lack that agency.
Yeah, totally by that.
I like the analogy of army of interns to just describe what ChatGPT and similar tools are, and it takes a lot of insight and thought to correctly manage an army of interns as it does to get something good out of a ChatGPT. And I agree with your analysis. I think that like we're all going to have to be good at like orchestrating AI as well as knowing what the right thing to build is, and there's plenty of work for that. We all wish we had engineering teams 5 times as big as they are. So like it's not like there's not enough work to do. Yeah, optimistic, but also I think we can do that.
Do you think we'll be managing AI engineers?
I don't think we'll call them engineers. I already have a bot reviewing, doing first pass review of PRs in Qt. It gives me a set of eyes. I don't trust everything it says, and I don't agree with everything it says, but it's my first pair of eyes and including contributions.
I'll just conclude here. There's a couple things we believe, if any of these resonate with you, come find me. Number one, strategy is a multidisciplinary exercise. It's not just the people that are closest to the data that have access to it should be the ones that decide. It should be everybody. Everybody should at least be able to be involved in that process. Number two, the lines between finance and data science are blurry. I predict they're going to merge as a profession. And number three, LLMs unlock the ability for us to work on more meaningful problems. Everybody here has done ETL, scripts, data craft. I personally hope that those days are over and we can focus on the more interesting things. These are our contacts. Please reach out to me. Would love to talk. If we have time for questions, if not,
Yeah, two more.
any questions?
All right. Well, let's give her. I'll make a comment on that question of like, AI and whatever. I've been around the industry for a while, and I have been told that, these tools are going to take over and we will not need to do many of these tasks, and you will need less engineers. I was told that in 1980 because we got a compiler. I was told that in 1990 because we had